Hello, everybody. Today we're starting a new unit, and it is ball hockey. Woohoo! Right on. All right, 3, 2, 1. Mr. Beast Fitness Channel. Boo! Hey guys, so today we're going to be working on ball hockey. And before we get into any real important ball hockey skills, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the hockey stick. We're going to talk about how to hold the hockey stick, and get that kind of stuff out of the way. Because if you can't hold a hockey stick properly, or the best way to hold it, you're going to have trouble and you're going to be frustrated doing the rest of these drills. So I thought that we should start off first and give some basic hockey stick knowledge and also some basic hand placement, okay, and how to hold the stick, and also what height we want the stick, just some basics about your hockey stick, okay? So that's what our video is going to be about today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how tall your stick should be. When you're playing ball hockey, you don't want to use a hockey stick that you would use on the ice, okay? So a lot of times you see people playing with one-piece sticks, and they're very expensive. You don't need a very expensive stick to play ball hockey. You can use a wooden stick that maybe your parents used to use a long time ago. You can use a cheaper graphite stick, one-piece stick. The stick that Caden has, we got from Costco, and I think it was under $30. It was $20 maybe. And there's also sticks that are even cheaper than that are plastic sticks, that are just made specifically for ball hockey and playing hockey outside, okay? And those sticks can be even cheaper than $20, okay? But the best thing I find for outdoor hockey is you just want to use an old hockey stick, one that was laying around, that was well used, that is okay to be dragging along the concrete, okay? So don't worry about having a very fancy outdoor hockey stick. You don't need that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the height of the hockey stick. So depending on what you like, you want the hockey stick to be, say, the highest maybe you'd want it to be is up to your nose. And then certain hockey players like their sticks really short, so all the way down to maybe the middle of their chest, right? Caden likes his hockey stick to be around...
I like my stick on ice to be like around here, like around, like maybe like about like right at my eye level sort of. When I'm on skates, it's about right here. But at ball hockey, I like a bit of a shorter stick, so I like to cut it down to about my mouth,
okay.
Or like the middle of my chin, something like that.
Right. So Caden and I have an ongoing kind of debate about how tall his hockey stick should be. I feel that his hockey stick should be a little bit shorter than he uses on the ice, because I think that he'll have better stick handling, but he likes to have a longer stick. And that's his choice, and every player is going to feel comfortable with a certain height of stick. Personally, I like to have my stick below my chin. That's how I've always had it. When I'm on skates, it's below my chin, and so my ball hockey stick is also just below my chin. And I've always played with my stick that height, so that's what I really like, and that's what's best for me. Most times they say that if you really, really like stick handling a lot, and that's one of the skills that you really prefer to do in your hockey game, then a lot of times people that do a lot of stick handling, they have a shorter stick. It's easy to handle a shorter stick. With a longer stick, you're going to get more power into your shot. The stick's going to flex a lot more. And also, if you're a defenseman, a lot of defensemen have quite long sticks too, because that Caden's a defenseman, so it's easier for him to poke check and create distance between him and the player that's coming down on him trying to score, right? So that's the first thing that we're focusing on, is the length of your stick, right? But let's say if your stick only went up to your knee, that would be really short, right? If it only went up to your waist, that would also be a little too short, right? That would just make it more complicated and harder to play. It wouldn't be the best. And let's say if your stick went all the way above your head, that probably wouldn't be too good, okay? So let's say if Caden took my stick, right? Here, I'll take your stick. And he was trying to use that stick, right? Okay? He might be able to use it, but he'd have a hard time getting a pass that was close to his feet, he'd have a hard time stick handling. All right, so that stick is just not the best, especially if you're learning to play. You want a stick that's the right height. The next thing we're gonna talk about is how you want to hold the hockey stick. And if you see right now the way Caden's holding the hockey stick, he has his top hand turned over. Okay, that's an overhand grip, and then his lower hand is holding onto the stick in an underhand grip. So in the overhand grip at the top, you can see that you can see the knuckles on his fingers. They're pointed out. The back of his hand is visible to me, okay? So, and then his lower hand, it's an underhand motion. So you can see his fingertips, okay? Hold it properly. There you go. You can see his fingertips and you can see his thumb, okay? So now when you're holding the hockey stick, you want to wrap your thumb around. So, Caden, if you can just turn to me, turn towards me. Yeah, good. So now you can see on his lower hand there, his thumb wraps around the stick. And if we can just see your top hand, Caden. Okay, so his thumb is wrapped around, okay? So it's basically like if you were to give the hockey stick a handshake, okay? That's the same thing that the way you're gonna kind of hold the top and the bottom. Now, depending on what feels comfortable to you, you might put your right hand at the top or you might have your left hand at the top. Now, Caden prefers to have his right hand at the top and his left hand on the bottom. Now, because he has his left hand at the bottom, that means that he's a left-hand shot, okay? So the curve on his stick is a left-handed curve. Now, when you go to buy a hockey stick, it might have a right-handed curve or a left-handed curve. So Caden's sticks are left-hand curve, same with mine. So now, I'll show you like kind of a view of my stick from me standing up, okay? So if I look down my shaft, my curve, okay, that's a left-handed curve. And if I'm looking straight down at my stick, okay, the curve actually goes to the right, all right? But they call that a left-hand curve. And the reason they call it a left-hand curve is because people that use left-hand curves have their left hand at the bottom of the stick, okay? So you can see that his left hand's at the bottom of the stick, and that's the hand that's really responsible for controlling the puck, okay, and moving the stick around. Your top hand is there as basically an extension to a lever and helps you get power into your shot. We'll talk about that later, okay? So, Caden, can you just get in a hockey stance for me? Okay, so now this is your normal hockey stance. You're going to want to bend your knees a little bit more than Caden is, and you're going to keep your head up. Yeah, and your bottom hand is going to go a little bit less than halfway down the stick, let's say. And from that position, you can do everything. You can stick handle, Caden. Show us some stick handling. You can pass the ball, okay? And you can shoot the ball, okay? So really, when you're like this in your hockey stance with your knees bent, yeah, there you go. You are in a triple threat position. You can pass, you can stick handle, or you could shoot. All right. You don't want to have your hand too low down on your stick. Show us that, Caden. Too low down, right? Because that's going to really give you a hard time passing and shooting. Okay. You might be able to stick hand a little bit better, but you're not going to be able to be a triple threat. You'll just be a stick handling threat. Now, if you have your hand too far at the top of the stick, okay, you're going to have a really hard time stick handling. You're going to have a really weak shot. And you're going to have a hard time passing the ball and a hard time receiving the ball. Okay? So, those are your basic hand positions for hockey. Last thing we're going to talk about with the stick is we're just going to talk about some terms that you're going to be hearing that we're going to be using throughout the unit so that you're familiar with what we're talking about. So, I might say you want to have your hand halfway down the shaft of the hockey stick. Caden, show them what the shaft is. What is the shaft of the hockey stick?
The shaft is this part.
Right. Okay, so it's from basically the end of the blade right here, okay, all the way down. That's the shaft of the hockey stick. Now, Caden, if I say you want to hold your stick at the top of your knob, what's the knob?
Right here.
Right. So the knob, that term is used for the top of the hockey stick. And lots of people have different styles and how they tape their hockey stick at the top. That's how I like to tape mine. I just do a little kind of thin piece. I wrap it around a whole bunch so that my hand has an area where it's locked into place. And then I put some tape down here. All right, that's how I like to have my knob. Caden has his pretty similar to that. Now, what kind of, if I say the blade of the hockey stick, what am I referring to? Right, right. So show me where the heel of the hockey stick is. Okay, the heel of the hockey stick is the back part of the blade. Okay, so it can be, this would be the bottom of the heel would be here. This would be the face of the heel of the blade. The middle of the blade is this part, and they call this the toe. The end of the hockey stick here, this area is the toe. Now, Caden, if I said, can you do a backhand pass, what part of the stick is the backhand?
This part. The part
Okay.
that's like curved out. Like, so the part that's curved in is like the front sort of, and then there's the back. So the backhand would have a curve coming out like this, and the front hand sort of shot, I should say.
Forehand.
Forehand is sort of like a curved in.
Right.
So like there's like a pocket, but in the backhand, there's a big curve out.
Yeah, there's like the opposite of a pocket, right?
Yeah.
So the backhand part of your stick is here, okay? So this is your backhand. And like Caden said, it's not, there's no pocket there to help the ball or the puck, okay? The forehand is this part of the blade, okay? And there's a curve there, and it helps the puck or the ball to stay in contact with the stick. So show me where the forehand is, Caden. The forehand of your stick?
No.
On the blade. Show me on the blade. Yeah, so that's the forehand. So we're going to be saying, you know, I want you to show me a forehand pass or a backhand pass, right? So a forehand pass would look like what, Caden? A forehand pass. Okay? That's a forehand pass. What would a backhand pass look like? Okay, so then you're using the back of the stick. So when we go over passing and shooting, okay, there's going to be forehand shots, there's going to be backhand shots, and I just want you guys to know the terminology so that when you're watching the videos, you're not thinking, well, I don't know what a backhand is. I don't know where the heel of the stick is or the toe of the stick is or the shaft is, okay?
Snap
So
shots and wrist shots. And
right. So as we keep going, we're going to give you just some hockey terminology as we go along so that it's easy to follow along with the lessons and it's easier for you to improve with every lesson. All right? Oh, there we are. Hold on a minute. I have to drop my stick. Okay. All right, Caden. That was a good intro video on hockey.
Yeah.
We're going to go pretty in depth on hockey.
Mm-hmm.
We're a hockey family.
Mm-hmm.
We love hockey, right? Mm-hmm. So we're gonna go pretty in depth on hockey, but we wanted to do a little intro video so that everybody could get familiar with right off the bat the stick, because that's the first thing we're gonna be doing is passing. Okay, so tomorrow's video will be on passing, and now you're gonna know all the terminology and you'll be able to be a wicked passer in no time, right? Tape to tape, snapping passes. Right? See? Some hockey talk. We'll get into it. You'll know what tape to tape means. You'll know what snapping the puck means. Snapping the ball. Right? All right. Here we go. On three. 3, 2, 1. Mr. Beast Fitness Channel! Boom!